It was just supposed to be a regular Saturday. The kind of Saturday where the sun feels warmer, the air is easier to breathe, and life is quiet, if only for a little while. Kayla had taken her son, Jason, to the park. He was 6 years old, full of energy, wearing his favorite dinosaur t-shirt and bright green sneakers that lit up every time he jumped. Jason loved the park. The slides. The swings. The laughter of other children. That day, there was a group of kids playing tag, and without hesitation, Jason joined in. Laughing. Running. Living. And Kayla. She sat on a bench, watching him. Smiling. For a single moment, everything felt right. But moments like that, they never last long. Two elderly people, a man and a woman, slowly walked toward the playground. Their posture was upright, their clothes neat, their expressions unreadable. They observed the children from a distance at first. Their eyes scanned over the crowd, until they stopped on Jason. Their faces changed. The woman's smile faded into a thin, hard line. The man narrowed his eyes. Kayla noticed the shift. At first, she told herself it was nothing. People stared. People observed. That didn't mean anything. But she kept watching. Because something in her gut told her not to look away. The couple moved closer to the playground. The woman leaned toward the man and whispered something. He nodded. Then they approached the group of children. They didn't speak to the parents nearby. They didn't introduce themselves. They didn't even acknowledge Kayla sitting not far away. They walked straight to Jason. The woman bent down just slightly and said, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." Jason froze. He looked up, confused. "You're making the other children uncomfortable," the man added, his voice cold and matter-of-fact. "You need to go back to your mother," the woman said, glancing around. "This is not your place." Jason's smile disappeared. His eyes dropped to the ground. He looked around, and suddenly, the park wasn't a place of joy anymore. It was foreign. Cold. Wrong. None of the other kids said anything. Some looked away. Some just stood there, unsure of what they had just witnessed. Because even if they didn't fully understand the words, they felt the tension. Kayla stood up fast, her body trembling, adrenaline kicking in. She called out, "Jason, come here, baby." But Jason didn't wait. He turned around and ran. She tried to follow him. But by the time she reached the playground fence, he had already turned the corner, his little legs pushing as fast as they could go. She screamed his name. Once. Twice. But he was gone. Jason ran. Through sidewalks, across small streets, past strangers. He didn't know where he was going, only that he needed to get away. From them. From that feeling. From those words. He didn't understand racism. He didn't understand prejudice. But he understood being unwanted. And that was enough to break something inside him. People passed him, but no one stopped him. No one asked if he was okay. A few adults glanced his way, but looked back down at their phones, their errands, their day. Eventually, he slowed down. His chest was heaving. His face wet with tears. He found a corner near a bus stop and sat down. Alone. Scared. 6 years old, in a city that didn't care. Back at the park, Kayla was frantic. She called his name, checked every corner, every path. But she knew, this was bigger than a game of hide and seek. She dialed 911. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "My son is missing," she said, trying to breathe. "He's 6. His name is Jason. He was just playing, and then these people, they said things, they scared him. He ran. I can't find him." The dispatcher asked questions. "What was he wearing? When did you last see him?" Kayla answered everything. Then she added, "These people, they confronted him. Because he's black, they told him he didn't belong. And now he's gone." There was silence on the line. "Mom," the voice said finally, "we're dispatching officers to the area. The officers arrived. But they didn't come with urgency. They didn't come with the kind of panic that a missing child should inspire. They came like it was routine. Like it was just another report to file. They spoke with Kayla briefly. Then, instead of joining the search, they walked over to the elderly couple, the very people who had harassed Jason. Kayla watched in disbelief as they calmly chatted with them. The woman folded her arms, shaking her head as she spoke. The man adjusted his coat and said something that made one of the officers chuckle softly. Kayla approached them, her voice raised. "They scared my child. They made him feel like he didn't belong here." The older woman turned to her and said, "We were just looking out for the others. He looked out of place. That's all." The man added, "We didn't know he was your son." As if that made it better. Kayla stared at them. Her fists clenched. Her whole body shaking. She turned to the officers. "Is this okay to you? Do you see what just happened?" But the response she got was muted. Shrugs. Notes taken. No charges. No reprimands. They said they would keep an eye out and put out an alert. Kayla was left to search on her own. The minutes turned into hours. Every second that passed fed her fear. What if someone had taken him? What if he was hurt? What if she never saw him again, all because of the ignorant words of two strangers who decided her child didn't belong? Meanwhile, Jason sat by the bus stop, curled up, hugging his knees. His eyes darted every time a car passed. He missed his mom. He wanted to go home. But he didn't know how. A woman walking her dog noticed him. She stopped. Asked his name. He didn't answer at first. But then, he whispered, "Jason." She asked if he was lost. He nodded. She called the police. Soon, an officer arrived. One of the same officers from before. He called Kayla immediately. When she saw him, her baby, her boy, she ran. She dropped to her knees and hugged him so tightly he squealed. She kissed his forehead, his cheeks. She held him like she would never let him go again. He buried his face in her chest. "Are you okay?" she whispered. He nodded. Then he asked, in a voice so small it shattered her heart, "Can I still play tomorrow?" And Kayla didn't know what to say. Because how do you explain to your child that a place meant for laughter, for joy, for innocence, had been poisoned? How do you teach a 6-year-old about hate? She didn't want to. But the world already had. This story isn't rare. It happens in quiet parks, in school hallways, in playgrounds. It happens when silence protects the wrong people. When politeness is given to the oppressor, and urgency is denied to the mother. Jason is just one child. But there are so many more. And the question remains, when will they finally be allowed to just play?